Hey there, Tracy here for the Not Too Shabby Shop. In today's video, we are going to make some wobbly cows with this adorable stamp set. So with that said, let's jump into the video. Okay, so here's what I'm going to be using today, plus some cream colored paper. I've chosen a couple of papers from the Kick Up Your Boots paper pad that came in the box of the month. And then I'm going to be using the Udderly You stamp set, and I'm going to make 2 cards. So the first thing I want to do, and I've got some green paper here that I'm going to use and some white scraps, and then off camera I've also got some cream colored cardstock. I've got my little nesting stars. I'm going to use 2 of them because I'm going to be doing a sketch today. I'm going to be doing a KCC sketch number 12 from KCC 20 because the best way to use up small stamps is to do them on sketches. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and stamp out the 2 different stamps that I choose. And I know I'm going to be doing the latte one, but I'm not quite sure what the other one is. Probably a birthday, because you can never have enough birthday cards in your stash. So let's get another birthday card. There's some really cute ones here, and they really match any kind of occasion, which I think is kind of neat. So these are brand new stamps. I've not used them yet, but I'm going to go ahead and pull the latte one, and then I'm going to pull the birthday one. I heard it's your birthday. Very punny and funny. And I will be coloring these with alcohol markers, and I will be speeding up my coloring, but I will color one on camera just so you can see. So I'm going to go ahead and set those in my stamp platform, and then I'm going to go ahead and condition them a little bit with my fingers. Just rub some of the oils from my fingers on them. And then I'm going to grab my Simon Hurley Stellar ink in Black Widow because it is my go-to ink for alcohol marker coloring. And the paper I'm using is some premium Hammermill paper. And I'll probably stamp this twice just to make sure it's good and stamped down. One time probably would have been enough, but you know, I'm an overstamper, so there's that. So we'll get those stamped down and out of the way. And I'll let those dry completely before I start to color them. So I'll just pull them out of the platform and get them colored up. Alright, so it's dry, and here are the colors I'm using. And I'm using my Ohuhu markers. And I'm just going to color up the cow with her hair and her snout a lighter color, and then her face a little bit of a darker color, and the tops of her ears the lighter color. And then just kind of shade this in a little bit. I'm not going too crazy with it because it's a small image. It's not necessary. So I'll get a little shading done and then fill that in. I'm sorry for my hair getting in there and sometimes my head. It is what it is. I'm an old lady. Sometimes I got to get close. So I chose colors that coordinated with the paper, obviously, as you can see. I'm just going to color in little pajamas, and I'm not doing any massive shading or anything on those, just coloring them straight in because it's really not necessary. And then I'll just go ahead and add a little shading to the cup. Now I've got them all colored. Now I'm going to fussy cut them. And I'm going to cut the sentiments apart from the images. So they come together, but I'm going to cut them apart. And I'll cut those off camera. And once I have those cut, I will be back. I have them cut. I've added some highlights, some white with some white pen, and I've got my little action wobblers. So I'm just going to grab a piece of white top folding cardstock. Well, it's side folding, but I've got it flipped over. So we're going in a horizontal or a landscape fashion. And let's go ahead and trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4. So that it fits on there. I forgot to trim it in the first place, but that's okay because those little trimmings I'll use to balance out my additions to the card front. So I'm just going to use my tape runner today. For the most part, I will be using some glue as well. And I might just throw some things around a little bit just cause. Anyway, as I was saying before, using a card sketch is the best way to use those small stamps still have the biggest impact. You know, if you were to stamp one of those into the middle of a card, it would just seem so small and swallowed up. But when you've got all these extra elements on here, it really just fills in the space beautifully. And the sketch that I chose, I felt went kind of along with a sort of a Western theme. So I'll go ahead and do my first layer with its matte. And again, just using my tape runner here. That thing's handy, but I'll be sad when I run out of tape because then I have to buy more. I wish that they made, you know, the big ATG gun. I wish that they made, I don't know, bigger, some way that you could not have such a giant thing in your hand. Because what happens with me with my ATG is that I can't see where I'm taping because the gun is so huge. But I digress. Let's get this stuck down. And I'll do one on camera and I'll do one off camera because they're made exactly the same pretty much. Pretty much. Now we've got to do the little flag situation. So I am going to show you how I do those flags by hand because I have a little flag cutter, but it only goes, I don't know, to like 1.25 inches or something. And I think this piece is 1.5 inches. So I'm going to use my Pear Blossom Press T ruler. And I'm going to center it, and I'm using the little indentation on it for the height that I want my little flag. And I'm just going to measure and put a little dot where my center is and where I want to go to when I'm cutting with my scissors. So we'll go ahead and get this cut out, and here's me searching for my scissors. I think I've taken them in the other room. Here we go. We'll go ahead and grab those, and I'm just going to cut from the corner edge to the center, and then flip it over and cut from the corner edge to the center. And I end up going over a little bit, it happens. And so I just end up trimming that off later. I don't ever expect my hand-cut flags to be perfect. Or banners, or whatever you want to call this situation. Flag, banner, I don't know, tab, whatever it is. Anyway, this is how I do them. You know, you could do dies or whatever if you have them, but might as well just hand cut them. See, I can see where I've got a little blooper there, so I'm just going to trim that off and with the wish and a prayer, hope that it comes out okay. Just so that it comes up to the top and I don't have that little kind of cut there in the center. I'm happy with it. It'll do. It'll definitely do. And I'll go ahead and use my tape runner and get this tape down. Let's make sure the tape runner is headed in the right direction here. One other thing I like about those is I can use my finger to pick up my paper because sometimes I have trouble with, you know, my pinching mechanism. Yeah, aging. Yep, not for the weak. Anyway, I digress. Makes it easy to just stick my finger on it and grab it to pick it up. So here's the part where I'm going to even things out here a bit. And I'm going to grab one of those scraps that I had trimmed off earlier. And folks, I'm in the habit of just tearing them. I'm just the laziest crafter. But I will cut them for the video. And I'm just going to use my tape runner and I'm just going to stick down a couple of these on the top edge so that everything's kind of even when it gets glued across the panel that is, you know, obviously raised up because it's on a couple of pieces of paper. And here I'll use my liquid glue to adhere this. So a lot of fun with the Highland cows on this subscription box this month. Okay, we'll get that one stuck down. And the papers, both sets of papers are just adorable. Okay, then we have this piece here, which is where you would typically on the sketch put your sentiment, but you're going to see how I change things up a little bit here. And that's the beauty of having a card sketch. It kind of gives you a foundation to work with until you figure out how you want things to go. So I'm going to raise that up again with a couple of little pieces of scrap. Okay, cut them with your scissors, T. That's where I would normally tear it, and it would tear too long, and yeah, you know. If I just take that one extra second to pick up my scissors. There we go. And that just helps it stay even across the layers of paper. So we'll add a little liquid glue. And then all we have left to do is our decorations. And on this one, I'm going to glue the stars straight down. On the second one, I decided to pop them up a little bit just because there's a lot less to my focal point. So here, you know, my focal point is pretty good sized, you know, in comparison. So I'll just glue these little stars down according to the sketch pretty much, because I just like the placement of how Kendra did those. And let's grab my extra fingers here and get these other stars on. And the other thing about if you pop them up a little bit is, you know, they don't have to try and lay over an uneven surface. All right, now we've got to get our cow on our action wobbler. And these are little small action wobblers. I got these, I think, from Pear Blossom Press as well. And I'm going to grab the side that I'm going to put the cow down on first. So that's going to be the solid-most side. And I'm going to set this down so that I can carefully lay my cow because she just barely fits on there. And then once I can see that I don't see any around the outside edges, I will press it down and then I'll pull off the backer here. Just like so, and just pop her down right in that little middle thing where the little piece of that star is sticking out. And then I'm going to do my sentiment. I'm going to pop up the sentiment too, just on some foam strips. And it won't obviously be as high as the cow because the cow's on an action wobbler, but it makes her a lot of fun. Okay, get one more. Yeah, one more little piece. I like my sentiments to sit solidly. And because I hand cut these, I can't, you know, just cut a bunch of layers. But the foam also makes it lighter. Okay, extra fingers again. And let's just add a little bit of liquid glue. Let's see if I can keep hold of this doggone thing. Small things. I think as you age, you revert back to when you were little. So I want to get this on here straight, and I want to make sure you can see it all. So I'm kind of looking at my camera while I'm doing this because that helps me. And there, that card is done. Now I'll do the other one off camera and I'll be right back. So I've got them both done and I've used the same sheet of paper. So I just used 2 6x6 sheets of paper. And I do have leftovers that I can use in other sketches. We've got our wobbly little cow. And then we've got our little wobbly cow head. Heard it's your birthday. Aren't those fun? Well, I hope you liked the video. If you do, please leave me a thumbs up, and I will have everything listed in the description box below. If you're not already subscribed to the Not Too Shabby Shop channel, please consider subscribing and hit that notification bell so you get notified each time we upload a new video. Thanks so much for spending your time. Take care. Bye-bye.